Tiangong-1 to fall to Earth on Saturday. Parts of a Chinese space lab will likely plummet somewhere over Earth this weekend. China's Tiangong-1 spacecraft is predicted to fall to Earth on Saturday, March 31st, or Sunday, April 1st. According to Aerospace Corporation, re-entry will begin when the spacecraft falls to an altitude of 120 kilometers above Earth. Some of this may be visible from Earth. As it descends to an altitude of 80 kilometers, the spacecraft will break apart. The UK Space Agency's chief engineer told the BBC that most of Tiangong-1 will burn up on re-entry, with surviving debris likely falling into the ocean. Experts say the risk of it impacting a city or populated area are very low. Aerospace Corporation says the chances of someone being hit by Tiangong-1 are 1 in a trillion. Earlier forecast estimated re-entry at between March 29th and April 9th. Impact is expected somewhere between 43 degrees north and 43 degrees south latitudes. More spacecraft.
SpaceX to fly 2 tourists around the moon next year. This week, SpaceX announced bold plans to next year fly 2 paying passengers around the moon, using technology that's still in development. In 2018, SpaceX hopes to fly 2 private citizens deeper into space than any human has journeyed previously. The 2 travelers will trek some 400,000 miles around and beyond the moon during the 7-day mission, before looping back to Earth. Before training for the mission, SpaceX says each of the unnamed passengers will undergo a series of tests for their health and fitness. The passengers are set to travel aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft, shot into orbit by a multi-stage Falcon Heavy rocket. The still-in-design rocket's first stage consists of 3 reusable rockets that produce 500,000 pounds of thrust. After separating, the central rocket propels the payload into orbit, where it continues on its voyage. SpaceX founder Elon Musk says the travelers will be trained for emergencies. However, the Crew Dragon spacecraft, which is also still being developed, will be mainly piloted autonomously. The crew can monitor real-time ship diagnostics, change the temperature, and take in views through one of the vessel's 4 windows. The spacecraft will conduct a flyby of the surface of the moon before traveling further out into space, where no human has gone before. It will then use the moon's gravity to slingshot back toward Earth. SpaceX hopes to launch the mission in late 2018, following a series of tests on the rocket and spacecraft. The identity of those traveling remains unknown, but one thing's for sure, they're very brave individuals indeed, and possibly also Scrooge McDuck rich.
Uncrewed spaceplane nails drop test. Scientists dropped this spaceplane from a helicopter over the Mojave Desert on Saturday. The privately built autonomous Dream Chaser spaceplane completed a free flight drop test in California on Saturday, November 11th. It can carry 7 passengers and looks like a smaller version of current NASA shuttles. Dream Chaser will use Atlas rockets to fly half a dozen delivery missions to the International Space Station by 2024. The test examined the plane during the final approach and landing phase of flight. The Dream Chaser was uncrewed, meaning it was flying on auto, but despite that, it pretty much crushed the drop test.
8,000 feet.
Copy 8,000. Good radar altimeters.
Approach and land. PTIs.
Copy approach and lands. PTIs are active.
End of PTIs.
Copy. PTIs complete.
400 feet.
Copy 400.
Landing gear.
Copy gear deploy.
Good gear deploy.
5 feet. Touchdown.
This is how Russia's robot spacecraft delivers supplies to the ISS. This Russian spacecraft may look like your run-of-the-mill satellite, but it actually plays a critical role in delivering supplies to the International Space Station. Russia's Progress spacecraft is loaded onto a Soyuz rocket and launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. After detaching the rocket, the spacecraft flies on an automated 2-day route toward the International Space Station. Progress then docks with the ISS, where food and scientific equipment are unloaded. After the robot resupply ship has fulfilled its mission, it will be deorbited and is then expected to sink somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. The spacecraft is said to remain docked with the ISS until December this year.
The US and Russia are going to build an epic space base. The Deep Space Gateway. That may sound like some sort of science fiction fantasy, but it could soon be science reality. NASA and Russia's space agency Roscosmos has signed an agreement to work on a new space station near the Moon. The proximity of the Deep Space Gateway to the Moon would create opportunities for lunar missions and future deep space exploration, such as missions to Mars and beyond. Space agencies from Japan, Europe, and Canada are also interested in working on the project that is currently at the conceptual stage of design. Once complete, NASA says it hopes to use the base to extend the presence of humanity in the solar system.